Hi, this is Dr. Sana Hashmi, and this week in my Prince Eye on China column, I discuss the third plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party that is currently underway in Beijing, and today is the last day of the third plenum. So, the third plenum took place after a delay of a few months, and one of the main reasons of the delay was the constant purging of the high ranking officials in China. So now this is happening, and the plenary meetings are held once every 5 years, and that serves as an important, a very crucial platform for announcing key economic directives and reforms that would drive China's modernization drive in times to come. And the meetings are conducted in the closed door format. So as of now, we really don't know how the proposals are going to be, what are the exact policy directives are going to be. So this would be cleared in a span of a few days or even months. How opaque China is, we do not really have a clear idea about it as well. But Chinese President Xi Jinping, who also holds the position of the General Secretary of the Central Committee, he, on the first day of the meeting, delivered a work report on the behalf of the Political Bureau, and he outlined priorities for comprehensively deepening reform and advancing China's modernization. So we know that it's about introducing reforms and which are going to drive China's modernization, uh, that are, of course, on the principle of socialism with Chinese characteristics. So even though the details of the policy reforms are not yet made public, we do have an idea of what these policy directives would be aiming at. There's definitely a clear attempt to address issues concerning Chinese economy, and we have been hearing rumors and speculations that how there is slowdown, and some of the directives will be aimed at advancing manufacturing in China. Also navigating a real estate crisis that has been happening in China right now, as well as addressing local government debt issues and addressing the issue of foreign investors pulling out of China. So this plenum is also important because China is striving for self-sufficiency, primarily due to the China-US trade and tech war, as well as the US restriction on tech transfer to China. But these problems will be looming large given the official figures reveal that China's economy is facing a significant slowdown. Uh, so, um, so when we analyze the Chinese media and social media discourse, however, despite all the issues we are seeing in the news, we are seeing that the Chinese discourse is somewhat that these issues have been overlooked by the praises for Xi. There is, if you look at the state-owned social media as well as social media, we realize that the problems are not really being discussed with seriousness. It's more about how Xi's leadership has been pivotal for China's modernization drive. So there is definitely a clear projection for Xi as the leader who is and will further drive China towards uh, social and economic transformation. This is the idea that has been portrayed on the social media. So this rhetoric echoes claims that Xi remains steadfast in advancing reforms and opening up as well. And she is the leader who's poised to usher China in a new area of Chinese style modernization. But apart from that, the efforts are also being made to highlight how the policy guidelines are capturing the attention of foreign media and investors. There is a lot of information about how foreign media is reporting these meetings. And also, there is an effort to counter assertions that global leaders and businesses do not really perceive China favorably. So, in fact, one of the examples that has been cited on social media and Chinese state-owned media is the recent visits by leaders of Hungary, Bangladesh, Solomon Islands, etc., to China. So these visits have been used to project that most of these countries view China as a key economic partner, like how the US and the rest of the West is portraying China to be. So such an approach and narrative building is, I believe, is not really beneficial for China, specifically when there are serious economic issues that China has been facing for a long time now, specifically since the end of the strict COVID-19 pandemic policies. So I believe the tangible impact of these policies would be limited if there is no serious consideration of how to resolve these issues, and this narrative that has been built on the media, within the media and social media. So I believe that such an approach, it avoids accountability, and it only promotes Xi's cult of personality and the support of his loyalists. But if we dig deeper into the discourse and move beyond the usual media, Chinese economists and scholars do present a balanced view in comparison. And there is consensus among Chinese economists that it is a must for the government to bolster market confidence. And for doing so, the government must prioritize providing clear political signals and establish a stable legal framework or a platform. That would in turn help in fostering a robust economic environment that would in turn encourage investors' trust in China and ensuring sustained growth. And also, there is a lot of buzz around Chinese economy slowdown and even rumors surrounding the complete collapse of the economy. So, such assertions are definitely unfounded as of now, but the crux remains that China is dealing with a number of critical economic challenges. This is something that I believe that no one can really deny. And what is important for China and Xi Jinping is that substantial actions on the ground are very much needed. And this is even more important when China has several issues to deal with at the foreign policy front. And I feel that this is something that is making it more difficult for Xi to deal with domestic issues. And there's absolutely precedence for these plenary meetings to set course for China's economic growth. And one example here is the 1978 plenum when Deng Xiaoping was able to put China on the path of consistent growth and development. And now how we see China as a product of the outcome of that meeting. But the third plenum will, I believe, will be ceremonial if the focus is not shifted away from one man and who is Xi. The current approach is not going to give a quick fix to China's economic woes. And in this context, what remains to be seen that if the propaganda and the hype surrounding Xi as a leader that is driving China towards greater prosperity is going to help him evade real reforms, real accountability, and shield him in the long run. So I think this is something that we have to see in times to come. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.